It's the Cold Beer Surf Club.
Cool. What do we start with? Are you on the darkies or are we on
Tuesday? Is it Tuesday?
Cerveza.
Nothing wrong with a Tuesday afternoon. It's Taco Tuesday.
Taco Tuesday.
Should we go with the Cerveza?
Yeah, let's go. Let's start off for. I've never tried that one.
Really?
That looks really nice. Good. Cool. Okay. Chata.
Yeah. Cheers.
Yes. Thanks for having me. Ooh, this thing smells zesty.
Last season we had a couple of sobers on here. Sober guests.
Well, that's why they got the non-alc.
Exactly.
I like it. Every once in a while, I'll kick back on.
What do you think? It's got a little lime in it.
It's beautiful.
Pretty good.
Yeah, I wonder how they do that.
I like this beer. You crush these ones. Good beach beer.
805, dude, right here. I drive up past their brewery when I go to like up north and stuff. Right? Is that where they do it?
Yeah, they got it's brewed in Paso, and they have a tap room up there. But then there's also that one off of
or is it just a sign that I see?
In Buellton.
Okay.
There's a tap room, and you can get a really good burger there.
Do you ever go in and just go kick it?
Yeah.
Maybe we should
my
host one of
bachelor
these
party
things
there.
next time over there. You get
We
a little,
did that one time.
just right in front of the big vats of just beer. Just
Who
like,
did we do there? Who came there? Oh, maybe my brother's episode was there.
But that's dope.
I think it was.
That'd be cool.
Yeah,
I wish I could get into that a little more. Brewing, home brewing.
I've never tried.
I feel like it'd be fun.
I've had friends who've dabbled.
I think, the dabble.
Science experiment.
Yeah, I think, maybe.
Seems like
I'm
it could
too
go
loose.
wrong kind of easily.
Yeah, I'm not like super organized with my shit. I think I would like explode it. Like the house would like erupt with like hops and
Catch on fire.
carbonation or something. So
Hell yeah, Dane. Well, thanks for making the shorter trek out. It's crazy. I feel like you just moved up here, but
yeah,
it's already been what? 3
I think it's 4 years already.
4 years already?
I know, it's too crazy. Yeah.
Oh my God, dude. I don't know. The last like 3 or 4 years have just
It's flown by. Especially now we both have kids.
Yeah, the kids like turns it up a little bit.
Yeah, you're like, oh, she whiz. Like time just goes quick and then you make the most of your time.
It's weird. Sometimes I feel like it makes it go slower, but then it also, I don't know. It's so weird.
100%. Yeah, you're in the blender.
Yeah, it's like some days are slow, and then next thing you know, you're like, oh my God, but a month ago, what? Like he wasn't doing that.
I know.
So crazy.
But I still go down south a bit and hang, especially coming in this time of year where it's like summertime, South Swell start cooking and go see the fam and hang out. So
heck yeah.
good.
I know. Well, I don't know.
You're going to come down. We got to get some lower sessions in the books.
For sure. I talked to Tanner actually this morning because he produced that Costa shoot I did the other day, which was
how was working
like
with
a really
T-Boy.
great coincidence because it was made the 2 days go talk about like going fast. Was just hanging out with Tanner and the boys like shooting the shit. I was like, oh, cool. This is very easy photo shoot. But it was insane. I mean,
He was
so
all
easy
hyped on the
working with
fishing
Tanner.
too. You guys did.
I know we didn't catch any fish, but we
You
still had
did?
fun.
Oh man.
Nah, Dwayne caught one the day before, so he like gave us a consolation prize at the end of the day.
Some fish tacos.
Yeah, some fish taco meat, but it was still fun. We got out on the boat and cruised around, and
Good for
I don't
you
know.
guys,
I
man.
like being on a boat's nice because I feel like everyone puts their phones down, so we were all just talking for like 6 hours.
Yeah.
So T-Boy and I caught up a lot because it's been like I don't know. I feel like it's been a few years since I've gotten to proper catch up with Tanner.
I know. Yeah. It's everyone's doing their thing and in their own world. He's in Oceanside, which is epic. He's loving it. And he's got his little daughter and it's cool. Like, I guess cause you guys were like on the tour together, maybe?
Yeah, I did the first, I guess maybe like the second full year I did the QS was with Tanner, Pat, and Yeomans.
Yeah.
Pretty much. They took me under their wing and I did a bunch of events with those guys.
That was a really cool time. I was thinking about that the other day when Yeomans and Tanner were on tour and they were on during the 6-month cut or something.
Yeah.
But the tour is so fascinating because it's basically like you're with the whole ecosystem for, 9 months or 10 months or whatever, but you're together so intensely, right? Like, and then life goes on after the tour or whatever. And then all of a sudden, like you said, like, you're like, oh, I haven't caught up with T-Boy for 4 years, 3 years or whatever. And then all of a sudden you're like, but you fall right into it. Like the relationships I have from the contest, I'm like, man, they're like my oldest friends, and it's so easy to fall back into classic conversations.
Totally.
Even though I haven't seen a lot of these people in a long time, from all around the world, you just trip out.
Yeah. I think that it doesn't feel like that long ago, but doing the contest, you think about like the friend pool that you have across the whole globe. I always think that's really cool. I'm like, whether they're people you competed with or just made friends with, like going back to the same places every year.
Yeah.
Like I have good friends in so many different places of the world, and it sucks to now I'm like, I don't see them that often, but you still like, as soon as you get together, it's like you said, it's just boom.
You click right into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a classic, man.
I think that was one of the coolest parts about doing the tour is all those friendships and connections that you make all over the world. And
yeah, because you would probably stay. I mean, Tahiti was a classic because you stayed at family's house and everyone kind of stayed together. And yeah, it's cool. I hope the kids are still having the same kind of experience. Like that's like fulfilling, because sometimes it's easy to get lost in the stress of, which it is stressful, right? Like you're trying to qualify, whatever, requalify, and your contracts are up and there's all this hype. But at the end of the day, it's not really what you walk away. Like you can, if you save your money, that's like cool in time, right? But the memories and the relationships are so valuable over time. And
for sure.
So, but it looks like everyone's having fun. Griff and Cross. And
totally.
I love those guys, man. I'm cheering for my San Clemente boys. They're going nuts.
It seems like there's a good crop of like the younger guys on tour look like they're having fun. And
like Griffin's classic. He's kind of like leading the charge.
Totally. Crosby's on fire.
And Cole's ripping. I mean, there's a lot of good guys. Al Cleland, and it's cool. I mean, yeah, I don't watch a ton of heats, but I do appreciate the heck out of what they do.
I'm the same. I'm kind of like a highlight contest follower. You're like, every once in a while I'll turn one on. I'm like, oh, sick. I caught one of the boys' heats.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I'm going to go do something else.
Yeah. Or even just listen. I like listening to the stories.
Yeah.
Like catching up. Oh,
for sure.
Rather than like literal, like, play-by-play, what I mean? Like,
did you? I mean, it's been a while since you competed, but you had to.
Yeah, I was on the QS for a while,
right? Because I remember, I remember a year at Sunset. Did you win Sunset?
No, Tanner made the finals at Sunset. That was the year
Tanner qualified, right?
Yeah, I think he made quarters that year, but we had a heat all together. It was like but I came from like really deep in the field, and that was when it was a huge field of people, and the swell was big, and I loved Sunset, and you love Sunset. Like you get it. It's like a different like ecosystem out there. It's like kind of like wild ocean, and a lot of the QS venues were like tight, compressed, like paddle battling and
beach breaks.
Junkie, I was like, shit, dude, I'm getting my ass kicked up. I felt like so good out there, because you had space, and then the ocean was what was going to like, dictate. You just had to find the flow, get in the right space with it. And that year it had a good board, Killer 7.4, and just like, we had a bunch of heats, and then we ended up getting all in the heat together, and then Tanner made that heat and he qualified for the tour, which is so fun.
Dude, that was insane. I remember watching that speaking of watching contests, that was one that I watched a lot of because I remember just that crazy run you guys had me like, oh my God, they're all in the same heat. And then T-Boy qualifying, that was nuts. Yeah, and the waves were firing that year.
Yeah.
Wasn't it like huge west and just blue and like kind of dream sunset.
Dreamy. Yeah. It was so fun. Like I remember watching the forecast every day, and it would be like, oh, it's going to be too big. And then it would pull back just enough where it was manageable. And it was great. All three of us have really enjoyed that in our career at Sunset, and just been fortunate to like have a lot of special times out there. And, even in the channel as a caddy, watching Patty have a couple of really good deep runs, and team made the finals, and it was cool, man. I mean, who was caddying for you when you won?
My brother.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, it was so sick.
Because caddying out there, you're dodging sets yourself.
You feel like you're in the heat every much. Like when I've caddied for him out there, I'm almost like, I get more nervous watching my brother compete than when I'm competing, I think.
100%. I mean, I thought it was like torture to like watch him all the time because you got the two brothers, but it was like you cared so much. I enjoyed watching obviously more than competing myself, but it was funny because, it was stressful, right? Yeah. Even like I was talking with Aaron from Channel Islands the other day, And we were watching, and he's like, you remember when like you just watched the scores drop and there'd be like no webcast? And I was like, yeah, I had like flashbacks of like waking up at 3 a.m. the kids or the boys are down in Brazil at like a 6-star and it's like no feed and
Ubatuba.
yeah, you're like
just
trying
flat.
to watch it 4-3-3 drop on the screen. You're like, fuck, did you make it?
Oh
I
my
don't know.
gosh.
And then they're like, someone got one on the Hooter and you can't see it. And it's like brutal.
Yeah, that's
you know?
brutal.
But you know those days. I know competing is like, it's cool. I am competitive, or was at the time. And it's like, but surfing is just too fun for me. I wasn't like, that's not like where I flourished, you know what I mean? So
Totally.
I'm grateful that there's many paths to take.
I feel like that's what's great about surfing, but it also is a little bit of, I feel like at times there's been more opportunity for free surfing, but I mean, you've pretty much traversed it for a solid length of time here, Dane. Like,
I got
hats
lucky.
off to you, dude. It's not easy to do.
Yeah, I remember when I made the decision to stop competing and just like trying to make it full time as like a free surfer. It was like the mags were doing their thing, but it felt like I was jumping off into the unknown. You know what I mean? Like you could really fall off the map pretty quick if you didn't succeed, So I just dedicated the same work effort that I would put into the QS, which is a lot of work, like you're showing up, you're grinding, you're going event after event. So I had the same work ethic and I just applied it to photos and video. At the time it was just photos pretty much, so just trying to make connections with the photographers and go on trips nonstop, like kind of make sacrifices at home, like limiting, I didn't really have too many relationships at that time, just was like kind of on the go. And it worked out, kind of setting a pace for my career.
Hell yeah. What year do you remember, like what year that was? Kind of when you made the conscious decision to focus your efforts into free surfing?
I think it was 2010.
Okay.
Because 2011 there was a really good swell in Fiji. And I think that's the year that Pat won Bolito. Maybe it was 2000. I think it was 2011. Yeah, that happened. I was in Fiji and it was bombing. It was like thundercloud. It was the year before it. And it was mental. It was the year that Bruce got that really big one.
Oh, yeah.
And Wassel, no, that was the 12. But yeah, Bruce got a huge one, right? And I remember talking to Pat, and him and Tanner were in Bolito, and he was winning the event. I was like, wow, I just got the waves on life. I'm like, this is as high as it gets. Like, we're just fucking killing it. It's so fun, man. Like, that
so
felt
sick.
Like I was on my path, and I was like truly where I was wanting to be, where I was feeling like I was meant to be, and they were doing their thing, and it was a cool kind of fork in the road. And yeah, so that was special.
So that kind of kickstarted at that Cloudbreak session?
Yeah, and it kind of just got my obsession with Cloudbreak too.
Yeah.
It was so funny because I hadn't been to Cloudbreak a bit. I was there when I was young, but it was closed. And at the time, it was just opening up. And there was a swell going. And I looked, and I wasn't very educated on it. And then I hit Reef Macintosh up. I'm like, oh, I think there's a little swell going to Fiji. I don't know. I didn't know the difference. And then turned into being like a freaking huge one.
That was that swell?
Yeah.
That was a different one. And then you guys were there for the Vulcan one too, right?
Yeah, we've been super lucky to get a couple. I think I've been there for 4 big swells.
Damn.
But one of them, I think 2011 was like 2 swells like back to back. And there was so many days of waves. And one swell was really windy and guys were like foiling it, or no, not foiling it, kite surfing it. And towing in. It was nuts. I mean, you've seen it. You got to see it. It's something that you kind of can't believe until you're looking right into it.
It is. It was like one of those ones I'd always think, oh, I got to be there for one of those someday, but just had never.
It's hard to line them up.
Lined it up. I stayed for the event. I was there for the CT one year. I did shitty, but I was like, I'm in Fiji. Like, why am I going to leave? So I just stayed, and they ran the event. And then like a couple of days, everyone left, but there's this pretty big swell coming. I was like, I'm not going anywhere. And that was the first time I'd ever seen it like cracking off on the
outside thing,
like more on the outside ledge, but it was windy. So it was kind of like, it wasn't very good, but it's still cool to see it. It was just like this big, just
it's pretty burly,
like so perfect.
Yeah.
And we paddled for a while and like caught some waves towing, just like, it was only 12 feet, probably like just big enough to be kind of like low tide was doing it. And I was like, wow, if this was glassy, it'd be like insane. And then
you got to taste it.
And then I got the numbers on that last swell that we got were kind of like, that was the only reason I went, is because it looked like a foot bigger than that day that I was there for, and super clean. And I was like, well, if it's a foot bigger and like that day, it won't be like crazy outside ledge, but it'll be super fun. And I was like about to have Archie in like 2 months. I was like, kind of like, oh, like this is a good swell to just go. If I don't go now, like, it's going to be a while, you know? Yeah. And Parker and I had been trying to do a trip for a little while, and we almost went to Namibia. We like almost went to a couple places. And then I saw that. I was like, dude, this is like let's pull the trigger. Cause like, I'm going to be locked in here for a while.
Dude, it's special sharing out with your brother. Yeah.
Dude, it was so fun.
And Parker got some sick ones and you got some huge ones, and
it was crazy. I wish I'd been like, surfing big waves a little bit more before that. Cause it was just like such a finite, it was like, you know, it's like a half a day. And I was like, okay.
There's a certain tide and the wind, and
yeah.
But see, like next time the opportunity presents itself, you'll be able to go, boom.
Totally.
There's my window. Like I felt like the last time I surfed it, I was just like, you go, okay, you just need the right tide, the right wind, and the right feeling.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you get the right feeling and you go, I'm going to catch the wave of my life right now.
Totally.
And you just act on it. You know what I mean? And no hesitation. But yeah, like you need the window to be there and everything to line up. Like you got to be in the right headspace. You got to be in the right health, injury wise, and you got to have the right boards and feel confident. So many variables
for sure.
So
it was a pretty new experience for me, but it was sick to have like Billy and Nathan and like some of those guys. They're just like, oh yeah, we do this all the time. So that was like good. It was like good for the confidence, just because it was like you could see kind of how they had their gear dialed, how they were going through it. You're like, okay, cool. Like, it was inspiring too for like you said, next time I'm like, okay, when
you'll be more
a little bit older, we got the program going here, I'm like going to get it all dialed and be like, okay, sick. I was honestly just so frothed out. I think that was almost the problem. I was like, I want to get away so bad. And I got in a paddle. I had to run the ski back into the island because there was no moorings. So I like ran that in, I got to ride back out, and then like everyone was out and I was like last in line, and I was like, fuck, I just gotta like get a wave, you know?
Yeah, get a little rhythm. You're like, oh.
But then I was like, okay, like Cole sat out the back and just like for 2 hours, and then got just this insane, he just knew exactly what he was looking for, you know?
But he's been there so many days.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what you end up growing towards, like the more time you spend there on those days. And like, you know, it's going to come if you're in there, and you like, you know, you just wait, and then you see it and you hit.
Totally.
But yeah, that's so rad. What a special,
dude, it's such a special spot.
Yeah.
I was there with you for a super fun run of waves like a few years ago.
Yeah.
It's been a little while now, but it's not huge, but just fun ledge. And
so I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys have boatmen. You guys were both boatmen in Tavarua.
Yeah. Got lucky to do that a couple of times. Before I got on the tour, I did like probably a couple 2-month stints or something.
It's so magic, and the best crew and the best people. But yeah, it's we've had a couple of days on the ledge, and man, it's just a perfect wave. And you know, goofy footers too. Like I felt like having experience at Pipeline and stuff, or Hawaii, where you know it's kind of like a nice left, but Cloudbreak compared to Chopu and then Pipe is like, it's just so much more interactive and longer, and you can draw, from my opinion, a little bit more creative lines, because you're coming out of the tube, you're engaging with bottom turns and turns that can kind of set you up differently for your next tube section. Like it's like kind of a dynamic setup there.
For sure.
You know, maybe some waves in Indo are kind of similar, but Cloudbreak's got a lot of power, you know?
It has that like Hawaii juice with like the Indo length or something. And I kind of like it because it is perfect in the sense that there's just like crazy perfect waves. But I like that it's so different. Like it's such a big playing field.
Yeah.
And there's so many different types of waves. Yeah. I think it keeps it really challenging and interesting. And sometimes it's a closeout, and then sometimes you make one and you're like, oh,
yeah, you're like
exciting, because I thought I was going to lock into a closeout.
Yeah, it's such a special place.
But then sometimes you do, and you're just like scorpioning the reef, like, oh God.
You're just like walking on the reef. You're like, oh shit.
Oh, you have to. I feel like if you surf Cloudbreak right, you pretty much have to get caught inside and have to walk the reef.
Just, it's such a savage feeling on your feet. Yeah, and you're just like, oh, your leash is getting caught.
So wrong.
When are you guys going back over?
Dude, maybe I actually think we're gonna
A little
go
Archie,
in 10 days.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, you guys are on.
We're I'm going down to Oz for JS does like a little team week every year, and I didn't go the last couple of years because I wasn't doing the contest.
Yeah,
and I was like, it'd be fun to go do that this year and see those guys and like see Joel and Nick and kind of
are they all
Aussie
gonna
boys.
go with you guys?
No, they're just
Or
we're
they're gonna go
to
to
the
Oz,
Gold
yeah.
Coast, and then I've been talking to Dylan for like the last year too. He's like, when are you gonna come down? I was like, I just been kind of like didn't line up. And I was like, well, we're going to be in Australia. So like, how's May 3rd?
Yeah, you're like, should we plug it in? Should we put it on the calendar?
I think that works. And I was like, well, is that like an I think, or is that I'm going to book my tickets? And like the next day I was like, I bought flights. He's like, cool.
Sick. And Archie's going.
Yeah. So we're making a whole family trip out of it.
That's so rad.
I'm so excited.
Yeah. And two, I'm sure like hanging with Parko and those guys, like if there's a run of waves, I'm sure everyone will want to come join. Those guys have so much experience out there, huh?
No. Yeah. That's a special place. Dude, speaking of Gromhood, so you got 16 months?
Yep. 16 months. Little girl. Beautiful. Yeah.
So fun, huh?
So much fun. It's like, I don't know. It's just, I guess it obviously changed my life, but it's so many ways of just like appreciation and, appreciation for my wife and my whole family and the support crew and just seeing what they go through. And then just how cool it is to like have this little creature that kind of, you see a bit of yourself in them and then they're growing and developing all these kind of nuances and just like characteristics. And they're just so classic. And it's like your responsibility, so kind of an empowering feeling to like have that much responsibility and care for him. And just, I just hope she has like the best world, to come into. So it's been really fun.
She's got a pretty good world she's coming into. Seems like you guys are killing it.
Yeah, thanks. I just like outdoors and the ocean, and it's just so beautiful here, and like getting them outside and stuff. So I'm sure there'll be no shortage of adventures, and then going down south and hanging with the cousins, and it's so rad. And Tanner's baby daughter was born in the same calendar year, so they're going to hopefully be really good friends. And
he was saying he's planning on coming up and hanging out quite a bit this summer.
I know. I can't wait.
He was tripping. He's like, dude, I kind of only like hung out with my niece like 4 or 5 times. It's just not enough.
It's so crazy, right? And then like we were talking with your mom, like how fast it goes, and all of a sudden you're like, dude, like you want to have a relationship with these little creatures, and then all of a sudden, you be a part of their life as they grow.
It's so every day is already so fun, but I can only imagine like when you get to start sharing like the things. Like when I
cook.
Like, is Archie gonna surf? I'm like, I don't care. Like I just want to do things with him. Like, anything. Like even when I take him on a walk now and like just go down to the beach or like walk on the sand or
wait
something.
Wait till you catch trees in the garden
waves.
with you and you're just like pulling, like Heidi's just like pulling like carrots out, just munching them. And you're just like, yes, like sick. And then she's like, she's just pulling everything out and trying it. And you're just like, dude, this is so epic.
So
you know
cool.
what I mean? And then like cooking, I can't wait till like, I don't know. It's just so fun. Like there's so many facets of life that just get you super inspired, and then just be like, freaking A, like it would probably be 2-fold, 3-fold if you get to share it. You know what I mean? Just like anything in life. So
it's pretty insane. I don't know. I like always wanted to have a kid, but then once I was like, wow, this is like way cooler than I thought it would be somehow.
I know. Yeah, it's pretty rad.
More fun. I don't know. I thought it'd be like harder for some reason.
But I mean, it's pretty hard too.
There's definitely like challenges, but I feel like you just doesn't like the good just so outweighs like any challenging part. You're just like, I haven't slept in 2 weeks. It doesn't matter.
You're like,
I feel like that's the hardest part, the sleep. Other than that, I'm like
deprivation.
I guess we're lucky. Like Archie's, it's pretty mellow as far as like, I mean, he's not mellow, but he's usually pretty happy.
It's so
the kid is a freaking terrorizer.
Does Parker love him too? Just like coming over, uncle vibes.
Yeah, dude, Parker's been traveling so much that he hasn't gotten to spend like a ton of time with him. But when he's home, we did 2 really fun little runs in Hawaii, which is
that's magic,
dude. How
and
good?
You guys got the little swimming area in the front, like
like the little freaking pipeline. I mean, we used to call it Beaver Creek. Maybe it's not.
Yeah, now it's gonna be like Seal Puppy,
Kitty
like
Peak
little
or something,
little munchkins.
Yeah, but how good is it over there? Like I think being in the warm for the Groms is so insane because you can just get in the water so easily. Here I'm like, I don't know if he's going to be stoked if I put a 4.3 on him.
Probably not. Probably
I want to. I'm thinking about it.
But bit of tears and just, but maybe like push through. But it is. We took Heidi. She was like, when we were in Hawaii this winter, like she kept going to the water's edge like nonstop and just like running and like playing in the, like I'd hold her hands and she just like loved the sensation of the water coming on her, and she was just so stoked. And then towards the end of the trip, like someone's like, oh, have you ever thought of like just putting her, on a board, go and try and paddle her out for a little bit. So we're like, oh, that sounds cool. Like she seems to be loving this. So we went out to Waikiki on a big board.
No way. And how old was she?
I think just after a year.
Okay.
But it was so cool. Like paddle around, she was just losing. We had a little life jacket on her and stuff.
Sick.
And then we got into like a little tiny green wave and she was just like squealing so happy, just like, yay. No, it was cool. Way. It's like so rad. It was just like, this is so fun.
Were you nervous that she was going to fly off?
No, it's kind of like in the zone. I was like, there's no way anything could rock us off this thing. I was like, I had full locked in vision, but
I might have to try that. Dude, I just saw, did you see that video? Like the Chandler brothers?
No.
Did you see one of them surfing with, I think their youngest brother?
No.
Dude, it was so sick. They were out at like a really young. I think he's like gotta be a year and a half. I think it was Legend or Mono was like fully catching waves, like riding them with super mini Grom.
That's so awesome. I love it. Billy always posted videos of his Grom surfing with him and it gets me so stoked. I'm like, what? That's what I saw Billy. I was like, dude, it's just so inspiring. Like I love family stuff now. You know what I mean? Like
fun, I know.
There's a lot of, it's just cool seeing everyone, grow into that phase of their life. And, we know each other as surfers and friends like this, but, getting that, family vibe is very cool.
Totally. It seems like this next gen's going to be coming on pretty strong.
I think, they're going to be nuts. I mean, you can, it's game on.
For sure. That's pretty cool. Like you and Pat and Tanner have all, like you're kind of all just starting your families like at a pretty similar time, huh?
Yeah.
Pat's a little ahead, I guess, but
not
much.
Patty led the charge. I mean, it's just, seeing it was kind of nice before like jumping into it.
For sure.
Because you got a little uncle vibes,
Dude, I know. Like all the, some things I wish I was like, oh, why did no one tell us this?
Yeah. Cause so like, Parker's got like a little bit better, like, learn, like you're writing the book for him to kind of study up on before Grom World,
I guess that's like being a younger brother a little bit. Let the older brother like fuck take everything up the first time.
Like, oh, that works. That didn't work. And they're like, no. So.
Totally. Dude, I know it's, so you had, I mean, I don't know if, does everyone know that you and Pat are twins? I feel like a lot of people don't know that.
We don't quite look, I mean, we're fraternal twins. So, but Patrick is like a little older than me by a few minutes. But no, so it's super fun having a twin. It's, I think it's just like kind of something that we just never, you don't think of it when you're young. You just think like, dude, you have like a rad best friend like all the time. And it was like we were born into it with each other. And we lived in a house where we all shared a room and, we were constantly all together. So it was like this really cool camaraderie, even though there was like probably competition and stuff, like of course in many aspects of our lives, but it was always kind of like reinforced on the family or around the family that, like this is your crew right here. Like this is your support system. They're going to be with you through the thick and the thin. When shit goes bad, shit goes good, so like respect each other and appreciate each other. So like we always had that growing up, but it was funny because like I never know a time. I don't have a time in my life when I didn't have a friend or brother who was the same age of me going through the same things and literally doing the same stuff, right? Surfing and X, Y, and Z. So it was a kind of a very cool, I'm grateful to have had a twin. I think it's kind of, obviously it's rare, but it's definitely been a cool path with him.
So sick.
And he's totally different than me, like, but we're kind of complementing each other,
Do you feel like the younger brother because he's a few minutes older? Like,
no, but I do feel like way less organized. Okay. Like Patrick is so cool because he's like locked in, and I look up to so many attributes that he has, you know, like even with the tour, like he was so dedicated and focused and able to bring out those amazing performances. And now with the business side of things, he's starting Abyss Waterman, which is wetsuit, you know, his wife has Abyss Women's. And so he's locked in, you know, and able to make some really great, you know, business oriented decisions. You know, they had a storefront there in San Clemente and Motu, and he works his ass off. And it's inspiring to me to be like, you know, it's go time.
Sick.
Yeah. So it's cool.
Patty.
Yeah, Patty boy.
That's so rad. And then T-Dog's how much younger than you guys?
2.5 years.
Okay. So that's like the same spread as me and Parker, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. It's a nice age spread because he's got his own thing going on, but we were always rolling together. And yeah.
That's cool. Was that a pretty conscious thing that your parents taught you of like getting along as brothers? Because I feel like when Parker and I were growing up, it was almost a little bit rare. Like you'd see a lot of siblings kind of like not get along.
Yeah.
And our parents did the same. They're like, literally what you said was exactly what my parents used to tell us, which was super cool. Hearing you say that, it was like when we weren't getting along, they were like, what are you guys doing? Like, this is your friend. Like you guys are on the same team. You're always going to have each other's backs. Like you're brothers. So they drove that into us, and I'm so glad that they did, because you always got your brother and you always got a buddy. And then like we ended up getting into the same stuff, I guess, somehow. So it's rad to like you can always spitball. And even though I'm older, it's like, you know, sometimes I'm learning things from him or getting his opinion on something that's, you know, you can relate.
Yeah. We're all very fortunate to have those relationships, you know? And yeah, it was, I don't know. Of course you had times when it was like, you know, you're just like freaking out on each other, you know, growing up in a very close knit experience there. But you just get, you know, closer as a result, or, you know, the relationship gets stronger. And I'm just so freaking thankful that somehow we were able to keep it together and ride through. And now, you know, in this chapter of our life, it's like, fuck, I can't picture my life without him, you know? So
that's so sick. And you guys have is it hard to live like further apart than, because for a while you guys all lived together in San Clemente, right?
Oh yeah. Oh boy, we had freaking mental time.
Oh, I can only imagine.
Yeah, because I think he moved in with us maybe when he was like right out of high school.
Really?
Yeah, it's just like, we just, you know, I don't know. I mean, on the road anyways, maybe it was a little after, but it was so funny. It was good times, you know? And so we got that kind of side of life. We got to experience that kind of freedom and ripping good times. And San Clemente was epic at that time too. It just, you know, where we were living, it was like kind of like this kind of quiet little nook. Like it was like weird. There was like there was like some empty houses around there. So it was like, there was really no one to call. Noise complaints at all. So we were just like, I mean, we had so much fun. Classic times. And we had a bunch of roommates too.
No way.
Yeah, we freaking mosh pitted the whole deal.
Sick. I remember coming by one time when I was a kid, like during the day though. Pretty long time ago.
Probably after Guicho's run.
Probably. Most
Stuff
likely.
to the gills.
Fat Boy Surf Camp. Just
dude, you got to bring back Fat Boy Surf Camp.
It hasn't really gone
cooking
anywhere.
Show.
Hasn't really gone anywhere. I still party hard with the food.
Man, it's fun.
It's so good.
Cooking is the best. Sometimes I'll be like checking it out on your Instagram. I'm like, oh, Connor's getting after it right now.
It's the first, I feel like the first, like, I don't know, like COVID, I remember just hanging out, just, nothing to do. Let's just cook, eat.
No, it's a good way to go, because we all got to eat, you know, all those meals every day. And it's like, why not have fun with it?
Totally.
Know? And why not learn like cool little tweaks and nuances to like make it fun?
Pretty creative.
It is. Yeah. I mean, I love what Walshy's doing. Ian Walsh, he's got his cooking show thing. I'm like, fuck, I'll save every message. I'll save out all those recipes on that thing. I'm like, hell yeah, Strutter. Thank you for, brightening up my culinary world. So
who in San Clemente, like, were you guys kind of, who was the gen above you guys in San Clemente that you guys were kind of looking up to?
Well, when we were younger, you know, obviously Yeoman's is a little older than us, but, you know, Lawsoness was ripping. Chris Ward was on fire. Shane Beschen was still around, and kind of like right at that thing, the Lost crew was doing their thing. You know, Corey would be in town a lot. Shea Lopez would be in town a lot. They had a big crew, you know, of people who were just really ripping, like, you know, in a creative, non-conforming kind of style, you know? So we were kind of like constantly immersed in that kind of element. You know, and Lowers had some crazy stuff going too with like Cremo and was it Justin Madison, and there was a bunch of guys just pushing airs like at Lowers, and you know, obviously Christian would come through town, Christian Fletcher, and he would just blow your mind. And I don't know, it was a really cool time to be there because for us being exposed to that at Lowers and, you know, at the beach breaks was kind of like this high performance pinnacle. And at the same time, you could go to Sano, and there was like the longboarding culture at the time was thriving too. You know, Josh Baxter and Colin McPhillips, and you know, you had these different elements of surfing that were simultaneously unfolding, and you get to be exposed to all of it. You know, the good, bad, and the ugly too, because you know, there's like some, you know, all kinds of characters, and so yeah, that was kind of our generation where we grew up under, and Chris Ward was always amazing and super supportive, and we were just like so grateful, like, you know, to see those guys kind of break through and do their thing, and definitely inspired us to fire it up, you know.
Oh yeah.
Trying to think, Yeomans.
Are the Long brothers?
Oh yeah,
same age or a little older?
Rusty and Greg. So Greg used to give us rides to school in before high school. He used to give us some rides to school in his old VW bus. It was so much fun. And they took us out to Todos for the first time. And I remember Rusty took me down to Porto for a month. And I mean, we're so grateful to those guys because they really encouraged us and supported us in the big wave stuff. You know, obviously it's pretty daunting to just like jump into it if you don't have, you know, someone kind of leading the way. And their relationship to big waves was just so like deep, you know, like they really revered it. And going out to Todos on those classic early missions was just like so formative. And Greg was just doing his thing, and he was really, you know, locked in, you know, and obviously he won the Eddie, and everyone knows the success that Greg's had. He's pretty much won every big wave event around the world, and Rusty's gone on to ride crazy awesome waves. And yeah, so that was again another different avenue of what San Clemente was doing at the time. The McNulty brothers, you know, I don't know, do you ever remember that Refit Todos video? It was like this big wave event at Todos Santos. It was huge and
was that the
wild.
Moxie one?
What is it?
I don't know. Or got that one huge like wave that he got the award for?
Yes, it was.
Yeah,
and so
I remember that.
Terrence was in it and his brother, and they were on Team Ireland. And I remember surfing.
Team Ireland?
Yeah, I was so sick. And so we were surfing Riviera, like this beach in San Clemente afterwards, and it was a big swell. And Terrence was like out there, and we were like talking. I overheard him say like, "So heavy out here," and I was like, "What?" Dude, Terrence just said it's heavy out here. I'm like, "Fuck!" He was in Riva Todos, and you know, you're like 12 years old. You're like, "It's heavy out here," you know. And you tell all your friends, you know, that it was heavy out there.
Hell yeah!
So yeah, it was
heavy
kind of a cool
must
mix.
have been throttling.
It was probably like 4 feet. I don't know. I was like,
sick.
San Clemente gets some swell every once in a while.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, you guys had legends too. That era was very cool. You know, you guys probably had like Brownie and who else? Like, it was like,
yeah. I feel like when I was young, there was like a solid. It seemed like there was maybe more of like a local pro crew. You know, like Brownie probably kind of led the charge from like the Santa Barbara area, like for the, you know. But then there's like Bobby, but then I don't know, it just seemed like there's a lot of you know, like Killian was gnarly. Like PD Musio.
I love surfing with Pete. Still,
dude,
he gets me so inspired.
PD's so sick. He's so fired up to surf all the time. Like I get so frothed out seeing him at Rincon and stuff. He beat me in the Rincon Classic this year. It was sick.
Unlocking the flow, power flow.
Yeah, dude, PD's the man. The first time I ever, the first Rincon Classic I ever did, I was really young, like 9, maybe 8 or something. And we went, the award ceremony was in Carp at like Tony's Pizza. I'm pretty sure, I can't remember if PD won or Brownie won, but they're having a lot of fun that night. And I was in there, I was like so young. And one of them just poured a whole pitcher of beer on the other one. Whoever won, the boys were raging.
God,
It was so class. I'll never forget that.
that's a sick event.
Dude, it's so fun.
And what a community too. Like just kind of, spending a little more time up there now. Freaking awesome. It's so layered, with so many legends and then all the way down to the Groms, and I guess every community has those ecosystems, right? And then you can kind of see the generations kind of coming underneath and like who inspired them. And then too, like who's breaking the mold a little bit too. But yeah, I think pretty much every classic surf spot up and down the coast, it's just so fun getting to see the dynamic, and you just have so much, I have so much appreciation for like the elders and those guys who kind of shaped the next generation, and then how it kind of manifests, how it keeps going down the line. And I mean, we're all lucky that we lived so close to like such great waves. They're so consistent.
Totally.
And it shaped a lot of who we are,
Oh man, it's so crazy. I would like think that a surf spot can have that much, like bring the people together, but then also have such a profound like influence on your life.
Totally.
As weird as it sounds, but it's like you actually, between the people and the experiences and the days and the community around these surf spots, like it shapes us.
Yeah. And then it's just incredible because that's the glue that holds all the community together, having that kind of place to come to.
Yeah.
So
pretty special.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure if you were in Santa Cruz, you'd say the same thing about their crew. And then, Santa Barbara's guys deal, Ventura thing, and then, down south. So it just keeps going.
What drew you guys up north from San Clemente?
My wife loved it, and she was living up in Ventura when I met her. She had been there for 4 or 5 years. And so, yeah, I was just open for an adventure. I'm like always like sick. Yeah, for sure. I'll try it. And, working with CI for so long, it's like second home, and just feel like so thankful to be working closely with those guys. And they've really welcomed me into the kind of ecosystem. And it's been really fun. Just, having a little space and cruising,
Sick. So you guys are stoked. You're not going back anytime soon.
I mean, we'll come and go. I mean, it's a life's a flow, so
Totally.
But I think, yeah, we're stoked, and hopefully little Heidi girl gets some waves at Rincon one day, and it'll be fun.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
So you're feeling like it's kind of a bit of a longer term, maybe potentially super long term.
I don't know. I honestly, like, how funny is that? You just like literally like, I don't know. I'm one of those people where I'm like, shoot, I could live 100 different places, because
Really?
I'm obsessed with just like the experience of it, right? Like plugging into a new zone. And I don't know if you've ever lived anywhere that, you didn't grow up completely, but it's a whole new experience. You're coming in to someone else's house basically, and you're learning the rules and the different ways that things happen, and being respectful, and just like, it's a total trip. It really humbles you and makes you kind of like appreciate everything and see it from a different vantage point. And to me, it's been kind of fulfilling to like go through that process. And, I think like going to Hawaii a lot when we were younger really taught us those values of like, be kind, be respectful, and just enjoy your time. And, take that with you wherever you go, so it's kind of the thing.
Sick. No, I've never lived anywhere else. I'm like, I always think I could live somewhere else, but I'm always like, I don't know. Like, I'm kind of the opposite of you. I'm a pretty homebody.
Yeah.
I got my roots set pretty deep. I'm like, I don't know. About
it's uncomfortable. It can be kind of prickly, like kind of feeling like, oh shit. Like, you don't have like that core foundation, right? That you kind of like can rely on. And it's a bit of sink or swim, but I guess my whole life is kind of, I've embraced those kind of sink or swim moments, and it's, at this point I kind of like enjoy it a little bit, kind of, satisfying to just engage in the experience, whether it's good or bad. You're kind of learning both sides of the coin, and you make mistakes, and hopefully you're better off as a result of it. You know what I mean? So
totally.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it's rad. I mean, it's such a good outlook, because I mean, obviously we put ourselves in uncomfortable positions in other ways.
Yeah.
But it's like,
100%.
if you can feel
Comfortable.
confident and comfortable in uncomfortable situations, it's like such a great skill to have, I think, in life.
Yeah. And I know San Clemente is going to be there, and all the friends and all the community. And it's like,
You don't know, they might just start following you up here.
I think people love lowers. I'll tell you that. If you're my friends, I think they're happy as clams. You know what I mean?
Dude, it is. That's the only, I think.
Like, I don't think anyone's like kicking back and being like, oh, I wonder how big it is up there in the dead of summer when they surf their brains out nonstop. You know what I mean?
That is the only thing up here you're kind of sacrificing from a surfer standpoint. It's like
a little bit of patience,
or a little bit of doldrums, but
yeah,
you kind of just get, I don't know. I feel like as long as you're someone who's okay and like has some other action going on, like some other hobbies or you know, fortunate to travel, like, okay, I'm going to go chase South Swells or whatever in the summer a little bit more, but summer's also epic here too. I mean, the June gloom can be a little, it kind of seems like it's extended like 2 months either way the last couple of years, but I love summer here.
Yeah, it's been cool. Like, appreciating the seasons. Like, I don't know if I'm getting older and like just more like emotionally connected to the seasons, but like, it's so beautiful. Summer just makes you feel good. You know what I mean? Like, you come out of winter, and I love winter to death, especially when the waves are good, because you get all those waves, you know? But spring has just been incredible. So many beautiful flowers and everything's in bloom. And then summertime, you just feel so full of life, and beach days are epic. And it's like, oh, you go south, you know, you hit Malibu down there, you get the whole scene, and then you can go south to Lowers or whatever, or hang up here. So it's been like, yeah, it's getting older is kind of a trip in a good way, because you just are like, fuck, we're all killing it just for
Dude, I know.
being around.
We're lucky. I mean, to make a living surfing is, I kind of just think back, I'm like, how did it happen?
Yeah, I know. At this
I know
point,
kind of
too.
how it happened, but I just feel so lucky
Hard
that it
work,
happened.
you know,
Yeah.
and good people and influences and dedication, right? And, you know, you're working with incredible brands that, you know, see the vision of what you can share with them, you know, and vice versa. And so I think like having the right brands to align with that support your natural being is, you know, especially if you're not competing. If you are competing, that's even better, because like those guys, man, it's a labor of love, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like, it's difficult to tie that into a marketing campaign, you know, but I think like what you're doing, I love with your boats and working with Salty Crew, and it's like, it's sick, you know? And obviously with 805, thank you guys. These are delicious.
They're pretty good. Very good.
But yeah, that's my, you know, I think it doesn't happen by just like random chance, you know what I mean?
True. Takes a little bit of, I guess I don't know. I feel like lucky, especially now looking at sort of the state of the surf world and like kids coming up, and I just feel really lucky at the timing that and like probably you guys probably feel that way too. Like, just how much opportunity there was in the surf world, and like to make it like a full-time living. I'm like, now it's like, gosh, if you want to be like a pro surfer, it's like, we just got to go, like we literally got, like how many rad mag trips you were like, literally you just went surfing all day, every day. And it was like sick. I'm crushing my job right now.
Literally, like there wasn't like emails, texts, whatever on your phone. I mean, it was Instagram, like you had like no cell service, and you know, it's just like you were in the moment, right? Like you were locked in that time with the people you were with on the trip, having the full locked in experience. And you know, I don't think we can go back to that time entirely, but that's why you said you just be thankful for it, because it's like, that was sick, you know?
Yeah. And just, like, I guess it's always good to embracing like what's new. And I'm sure there'll be new opportunities for kids coming up now that like we didn't have, and hopefully. Yeah.
Well, I mean, look at this. This is freaking sick. There's cameras, there's freaking lights. You got a podcast. I mean, when you were, you know, in the peak of the CT, you know, going to Lowers, like you probably were like, last thing you thought of was like, you're going to do a podcast. But like this medium, like there's new mediums being developed and for people's voices to come out and their creativity. And I think it's a really interesting time. It's an engaging time. It's different than the past, but I don't think it's necessarily like something that's a negative.
For sure.
I mean, it's, take it or leave it. Like some people like this or don't.
Yeah.
Like some people, it's all good. But I think it's interesting. And hopefully the next generation just comes out and fucking keeps changing the game, keeps inspiring us,
Totally.
Because I love it, man. I love watching the young kids on the Instagram just fucking ripping. I'm like,
it's
Jesus.
so gnarly.
So gnarly.
Like the airs and the shit that these kids are throwing down. I'm just like, oh my God.
Yeah. And then barrels and
everything.
the way they're attacking it.
It's so gnarly. The level's just like, it's crazy. I think the wave pool thing, like definitely.
Yeah. With the airs and
It's
stuff.
so, I mean, it's like they have a trampoline. They're just going ding, ding, like time and time again.
Thankful that I didn't have to get exposed to that. I think I would have broke like a wishbone.
Yeah.
Like I suck at it anyways. It's like shit, man. But like, I don't know. Are you going to do that stab thing? You were doing the air high stab thing? No,
dude, I can't get high in the air on a surfboard.
I've seen it in Modern Collective or no, what was the one? The Suburban,
maybe like
Dear
Lost
Suburbia.
Atlas or one of them. I had a couple airs.
One of the ones, and that trip to New Zealand was sick.
Yeah, that was fun. I think for a while, when I was younger, I could kind of like pull it off a little bit more. But then when I got on the tour, I was like still trying to do some more airs and stuff. And I was like, I kind of would hurt myself.
Yeah, little tweaks.
And I'd be like, well, shit, like if I can't do a turn, because I tried like some air that is nowhere near as good as the air that John or Felipe just did, like, what's the point? I was like, I'd rather just try to do big turns all the time. So that was kind of like,
yeah, you found your way.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, I was kind of like, I can either like sacrifice my body and be hurt all the time and probably like maybe not surf for too long or miss out on a bunch of surfing. So I was like, I'm just going to focus on this.
Isn't it weird how your expression or your creativity manifests in the maneuvers that you choose to do on a wave? Right? Like I trip it. Like some people just freaking love airs so much. And some people like love soul cars or whatever. And it's like, why? What is,
and
like,
there's nothing wrong
idea.
with any of it or either approach. It's just like everyone's so unique and different.
I know. And that's what that gets them boosted up. You know what I mean? And it's just so cool that surfing's out there, that we can do whatever the heck we want to do. And, I mean, if you're in a contest, you got the criteria, but other than that, I mean, surfing has never been more open and accepting, honestly. Like you can ride whatever the heck board you want to ride and do it however the heck you want to do it. And there's probably a home for you. There's probably an audience of people who can relate to it, who are appreciative of it. It's a trip. Looking at your boards all up here and, sky's the limit. I mean, it's very cool.
Yeah. Surfing is such a special thing. And I think that's what I always loved about it was when I was a kid playing baseball and soccer, it felt like you kind of had to conform to like a time clock and a jersey, like an outfit and like rules and like an hour and
one goal, like to get the ball in the hoop or the ball in the net. And you're like, which is awesome.
It's hard and it's fun too.
Yeah.
But I think surfing was just so out of the box and it was like, there was no one really telling you like, this is how you have to do it. Like, this is what you have to do. It was just kind of like something just comes out of you and you're like riding the wave and you're like, I want to do this. Or like, kind of like, I feel like music's the same way. And
totally.
I always think about that when I'm listening to some song that I really like. I'm like, God, someone just wrote this song,
It's incredible. Right? That's what
so
happens
crazy.
even in surfing too. It's all improvisation, and music is too, intuition and improvisation, and you're just locked into the moment and it's just coming through you. And with music, of course, but surfing too is a pretty good example of that. I was just like, you guys at Rincon would have seen guys riding all kinds of different boards. Cause for us at, growing up at Lowers, like it was short boards, you know what I mean? And of course, Sano had its trip with longboards and stuff. But you didn't really see people on fishes and eggs. I think there was a lot of that happening in San Diego. But for my experience out there, there's kind of a lot of different, it's not that, like, it's probably shortboard is probably like 25 to 40%. Would you say?
Yeah, no, I agree. When I was a kid, I longboarded and rode.
Oh yeah. Is that the one right there?
That's my uncle gave me that Tyler. That thing's sick, but no, that wasn't the one, I don't know what happened to the longboards I had when I was a kid, but, and I had this, an egg that I rode all the time. And this one time I was down at Rincon and I had a shortboard at the time too. I was probably 8 or 9 or something. And, I was riding this egg and like, I would always just ride like bigger boards or longer boards or someone, my friend JP had this like dreamy. I always rode like this, dude, like all these cool boards and I just ride whatever.
Dude, the board
fins.
building history here in Santa Barbara is so cool.
It's pretty insane. And then, but one day I was walking up and my dad was down there. I think he took me down. Maybe we surfed together and Sean Thompson was out and and it was like small, but fun little Rincon. So I was riding my little egg and I was all stoked. I was probably just whatever going straight in the cove. And I come in and Sean comes up to me and my dad, like as we're kind of driving out of the parking lot and he's like, "Hey, Rich." And they kind of knew each other a little bit. And he's like, "Hey, Connor." He's like, "Hey, you've got to go talk to Al. They're making these boards with pointed noses now."
No.
And my dad was like, "Well, yeah, like, you know, he's just riding his egg. Like, and he's like, no, like you've got to get a board with a pointy nose."
I feel that. I mean, those guys, they were on like some crazy trip where they had to push through some like funky design transitions.
Yeah, and he was probably just like, "Why are you riding that fucking turd, dude? Like, go get a board you can do a turn on."
I know it's got to be really frustrating for that generation, but at the same time too, it's like I love driving a car that's freaking manual, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, of course it's less convenient, but you're connecting with the experience. You're feeling the road, you're feeling the car, and you're locked in on it. You know what I mean? And it's like, of course there's automatics, bitchin' stuff, like state of the art, you know? And I just think now is a really cool time that we can, you know, come from our vantage point of having so much experience on like high performance thrusters with like epic rails and bottom contours. But when you take those back to the old boards, we're coming at it from a whole different approach than those guys had the ability to see, because we got to ride these amazing thrusters that go fast and maneuver in a certain kind of way. So yeah, it's, you know, I love riding a really hard to surf board, or really, I don't know, something that kind of challenges me, because then I feel like I'm better off for it. You know, you see the wave in a different way, or maybe like you want to come at a turn from a different angle because you're going a different speed, and it just kind of unlocks things for me. And so yeah, Sean Thompson is totally correct in that statement. He's right, like, fuck, you could be riffing on something else. But the reality is, like, I don't know, from my point of view, is like, ride as much different stuff as you can expose yourself to, possibly expose yourself to. Don't be afraid to be failing or feel like a kook, because it's, man, that's the secret sauce. You know, it has been the secret sauce for my like love for surfing, because otherwise, man, you just get locked in. And yeah, I don't know how you break through to the other side, you know, like to get to the next level. I mean, it's basically like at this age, it's all nuance stuff, like, you know, and how do you even grow as a surfer after you're, you know, hypothetically done your most athletic surfing, right? Like if I'm like 39 now, it's like I was probably in peak athletic shape, you know, in the early 30s or whatever. Maybe that's not the case with some people, but like, how do you still find love and joy in surfing and aging? And I think a lot of it is just the boards you ride and the, you know, ability to kind of like free yourself up from like the performance orientation of it. You know what I mean?
Totally. Yeah.
And I see a lot of it around here. I'm like, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I think like you said, Rincon's it's a fun, like it's a great wave to shortboard when it's good, but then there's like a lot of days where it's a little soft, or like it's a little, and you just want to be able to like get that extra glide or speed and that flow. And it's such a long wave that you
rip on a fish. I've seen that stuff.
Dude, when I was younger, I didn't like twin fins, and now I'm like, dude, they're so fun. Maybe I should have the right one or something. But
yeah, but maybe maybe you had, dude. There's so much nuance to it, like the freaking double foils or single foils and freaking tails. It's just like, dude, it's endless, man.
Yeah, like you said, that just all those like different sensations you get out of a board and riding the wave are, it's like something different is like fresh. It might be worse, but it's
technically. Yeah, it's like maybe you don't even want video of it. Maybe you don't even want to see it. Maybe it's just like, I remember going to Santa one day and I had this huge 14-foot wood box board on the roof of my car that Donald Brink and I had made.
Yeah.
And it was a freaking hot summer day, and I was so nervous because this thing's a freaking canoe, you know what I mean? Like, it's on the roof of my car, driving down all the way to Dog Patch, which is at the very end. Everyone's just like craning their necks, like, what's this guy got going? And I was so anxious, but I was like, and fumbling, and it was slippery and kind of tippy. But honestly, it was like one of the most satisfying surfs of my whole life. And I was like, but I was mortified to just get it off the roof of the car because you had people coming over. I'm very shy. I'm like, oh, fuck. Dude, please stop looking at me. But I loved it, man. It's like, you got to go for it.
The challenge.
Know? Yeah. You got some sleds around here. You could peel down one a day and just go nuts.
Dude, I know. I kind of I actually really want to do that. I got to tap into some of these old
How do you like working with JS?
It's fun. It's a little like different when you don't, like I was so used to living
down the street,
you know, and just being in there all the time, like annoying the people that are making your boards. But I mean, not just annoying them, but like talking boards and like kind of being more in it. And I guess when I like at that time on the tour, like kind of just he was making so many good boards for like all the different
the time it was probably like Joel was probably on tour.
Joel was like just finishing Ace, and like Julian. Andy passed away when I was pretty young. I was like 16 when Andy passed away.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it was super fun because he's shaped so many boards for like all those, you know, for that specific thing and been so like focused on that. And JS is so competitive that he like just always wants to make you like the next best board to like see you do better in comps. So that was really fun. And now that I'm like not competing, I don't know, we just like text each other and talk shit every once in a while. And I'm like,
which is cool.
Yeah, I don't know. I still got a garage full of boards. He's like, well, you want any new ones? I'm like, I don't know, make me like one or two. But
isn't it funny how like you're like, even to your headspace, like I know, because I was on doing some comps and my brothers are doing the comps. Like you're searching for the magic board for so long. And you're willing to go through so many shapes, right? Of minute differences. And you do feel that little burst or whatever the heck it is. And it gives you that little X factor confidence, right? To go and win a comp. Mm-hmm. But once you don't compete anymore, you're happy enough as one board, honestly, or two or whatever. You know, it's like, wait, you need less. I've appreciated that because it's a little like, you know, I don't know. It's crazy when you just see, but you need that edge, man. Everyone's searching for that little edge on the tour, yeah?
Yeah, when you're in the comps, you always feel like you need it, but then I don't know.
What do you think? Like looking back now, you think you could just pull up to an event with the headspace that has matured a little bit and you think you could just get the job done? Or do you think that there's like a value in that like obsessiveness almost that we all have if you're competing?
I was never great at just like rolling up if I like hadn't been surfing a bunch or just kind of like, oh yeah, I'm just going to show up and like, oh yeah, well, I did really good in that contest.
Yeah.
Like usually the ones I did the best in, I was like, had been putting in the work. I don't know. It's just, you know, some people, it seems like they could do that. And I'm always like, I wonder if they actually are doing that. If they're actually like,
or secret training.
Yeah. You know, it wasn't necessarily like, oh, I was in the gym all the time, but it was just like in the mind space of like surfing and competing, just like feeling sharp, you know? But then I did do well. It's like sick or hurt a few times, but I'd been surfing a lot still. So yeah, I don't know, but I could always like, it wasn't like I could be on some vacation for 3 weeks and like roll up and just like, yeah, like, okay, cool. And just like wax guys. It just never,
but did
really
you have
worked.
Like a magic sled that took you to the finals?
I mean, over the years, I definitely had some magic sleds. Yeah, for sure. And there were certain boards where you just were like, oh, I don't have to think about it anymore. And that's I think weird, that was always like the goal competing for me. I was like, I just don't want to like think about my board. I want to think about like where to be in the lineup and like what turn I want to do or something. Not like, what's my board going to do?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's definitely something that you're like trying to remove that like responsibility from the equation to just go out there and just slaughter the heat.
But the year that I made the top 5, I had, he was on a heater. He made me like, I think like one batch of boards and I had like a Magic 510 and a Magic 511.
From JS?
Yeah. From JS. And I just like rode those.
That's crazy.
3 boards. Like, I had like a 510 round tail, a 510 squash tail. And then I had this board made for the Barra contest and it was a 511 if it got really good. And the 510 he made me just like it was magic. I rode it down there the whole event. And then we got to lowers and I was like riding the 510. And then I was like, oh, it's kind of gonna be like pumping. Maybe I'll try the 511. But
that year was pumping at lowers.
But for me, I never really ride like a longer board at lowers like that. But Mick actually was like, saw me one day. He's all, don't count out a longer board. And I was like, oh. I have this 511 that just feels insane under my arm. And I went out and surfed it one afternoon and it was like instantly, I was, whoa, that thing's magic. And so then I rode it the whole contest or the couple days before.
It's got to be nerve wracking.
Whatever, the two heats I surfed at the contest, but.
Well, that was like, yeah, it's kind of like bizarre, that thing, because you're there and it's like a finale, but there's no real like rhythm to it. It's like you surf like a heat, right? Because you didn't get the best of 3.
No, I was 4th going into it, I think. So I surfed against 5th and then I beat Morgan and then I surfed against Felipe and lost that one.
Yeah, I tripped. I mean, it's got to be nerve wracking as all get out to surf like a man-on-man heat. The waves are pumping and you're at like J-Bay or even Cloudbreak, for example. Like, I feel like competing would be so tricky. Like, I don't know. You have to like block out all the little waves. Like anytime I get a heat of lowers, I'm like, shit. I'm like, look, it's the left. Look, it's the left. And I just end up with a bunch of force. Totally. I'm like, fuck. Why did I do that?
I do that at Pipe. Like most other places, I think I was pretty good at picking good waves. But the 2 times I did the Cloudbreak comp a couple of times, I always did bad. And I knew the waves so well, but I just was like
too excited,
too fired up.
I have take my hat off to anyone who's got the patience and the ability to just lock in under pressure. It is incredible.
Yeah, it's so hard. I mean, it's such a
competition is
challenge.
Hard, man.
But Pipe, I do the same thing because I never get lefts. Like I always go right when in free surf. So I'm like, I just kind of like boys are there and okay, I'm just here's a right. Like, oh, no one wants it. Okay, like it's probably a closeout, but every once in a while you get a good one.
Yeah, you're like, sick.
And then I get in a heat though, and I'm like, oh, lefts, like I can catch him, and I don't go on him that much free surfing, so I'd just be so fired up. And I'd like the last couple of years, I think one day the waves were firing out like 2 5s, so it was just I had like 5.
But they were probably the most enjoyable, fun 5s.
Dude, just like, they were so fun. I was so stoked to get them, but then I was like, I probably should have maybe I just should have gone right.
Hats off to anyone who competes because it's hard as shit.
Dude, it is.
And what's funny is like it's so underappreciated, right? Like the nuance of that, like just sitting there and having the just patience, and it's like, man, people online are like, catch more waves. I want to watch something. And it's like, dude, it's a chess game out there. These guys are freaking putting it on the line, holding their nerve. And I think surfing is like that for competitive surfing is always so funny in my mind because it's just for like this hardcore loyalists, like people who appreciate the nuance and just like, it would be difficult to take that appreciation and apply it to like a broader, mainstream audience. Cause like at the most point, we're all just sitting around looking at the freaking horizon round. You know what I mean? So crazy.
Dude, it's so crazy.
Like we just sit there and look at the water for the most part.
Give me another.
Yeah, wave. But it's like wave. You want the inner dialogue coming through, like, please, just want the wave of my life, just a 7.5, just tuck in.
What was Mason's line? I never lose, I just run out of time.
Yeah, that's a pretty accurate description. Yeah, you just like love it,
Totally.
He loves it. So,
who are some of your favorite surfers that you drew inspiration from, like maybe growing up or even to today? Surfing for Dane.
Yeah, I think. Cast a pretty wide net. I got to definitely say thank you to Nathan Fletcher and simultaneously Joel Tudor, with the Vans relationship for so many years. Those guys really helped guide us and mentor us. But Nathan's become just such a great friend. And being around that kind of influence of camaraderie, but then watching him do his thing, no matter how big the waves were, if it was huge barrels or like we went to like a couple crazy wild big wave missions and then high performance, like boosting crazy airs and stuff. And, all those influences, like those guys, thank you so much to them. I love watching older guys too. Like, I think like when I watch videos of Skip Frye and his gentleness and his touch, I think like, ooh, that's like, I want to age into that, like releasing the tension and just like finding a gentle grace with it. And it's hard, you know, because you're so conditioned to like how you ride the wave and what we're usually conditioned towards, which is smashing the crap out of the thing, right? And trying to get a 6.5 on it there, you know? But like, so that's kind of like, wow, I think that's wonderful. And then, you know, obviously my brothers, I love those guys, surf with them every day, pretty much freaking growing up. You know, T-Boy is my goofy foot inspiration. You know, of course we all looked up to Aki, Tom Carroll, goofy footers. You know, Parker knows it's like this, you know, Bobby, it's like the brave kind of like, this is like, it's weird, especially living up here. You're like backside all the time. You're like,
totally.
And then too, I've been tripping and just like watching Curren footage and stuff here and trying to learn how to surf a point break and just like being influenced by point break surfing recently. It's a different dance, you know? So taking notes of patience and tempo and cadence, you know, from guys like Curren. But yeah, I don't know what it manifests into. It just turns into me. Like definitely Gavin Beschen too. I remember when I was young in San Clemente, I was like, fuck, Gavin's like my icon, dude. Like
such
freaking
cool,
like obsessed by Gavin.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, Chris Ward, I mean, I love, and Corey Lopez and actually Shay too. Super grateful to Shay. Like he came along on some events with us on tour when the boys had just qualified, and he really tuned us into like what we were eating and stretching, and Shay was really kind of influential in that capacity for us. So we got a lot of good influences.
That's a solid melting pot to draw from.
Total trip, right?
Yeah, that's sick. I love it.
Oh my God, too. One time I went on a trip with Dave Rastovich, and that was like, too was like Dylan and I, we went on this Indo boat trip. And that was one of the first times I'd seen people surf a surfboard with two fins, right? Like a twin fin, but not a fish, but in a way that was like super compelling on the backhand and just destroying it in a way that was like, we all wish we could surf any high performance board with the like just drive and speed that he had. And I remember coming back from that trip and going, all my boards are like, what am I doing with my life, dude? I gotta like cut the noses off and just open up the freaking aperture on this thing, because I'm fucking blowing it.
Blew the door off the
dude. When you watch, and then he was body surfing, I was like, Jesus, he is like prolific water flow.
Dude, Ross is so sick.
So yeah, definitely. I mean, but core values, like what we watched the surf videos was like Aki and all that stuff. But yeah, so that was kind of the long-winded.
Hell yeah. What was the Rasta trip for?
It was this Indo boat trip. It was, I think, for Surfer Magazine. And it was like Dylan, me, Chris Del Moro was on the trip.
Oh, hell yeah.
Rasta, Mayan Goodwin, Brad Gerlach.
Oh.
It was a really cool mix of people.
That wasn't that long ago, huh? I mean.
No, but it was like all about like these conversations, and Nate Oldfield made a cool video.
Yes, I remember that.
And it was
that was super cool.
Yeah, it was, I mean, it was, like I said, it like changed the way I literally saw surfing. And I've never been the same since. I was like, and Gur too. You work with Gur.
Yeah. I worked with Gur for years.
He's so special because he's looking at the waves and he's thinking about it, right? And surfing and technique and posture and paddling. And I always thought, like, for me, like surfing starts like when I'm waking up, you know, like if I'm waking up and I'm in the flow and I'm getting in the zone, coffee, breakfast, the kids, this, and how it transcends into the session, right? Like, you know, when you just get all jumpy and just like come into a session all flustered, but it's like, dude, you can start that process way earlier, you know? It's like, it ties into the whole thread. And Gur, I love him because he's like on that same wavelength, you know, like he's thinking like that. So it's cool. Like you can open it up and, you know, if you really open it up, you can go all the way, you know? You can go pretty deep, you know.
No, Gur is one of the few people I've ever talked to about surfing who could actually explain what your body was doing to like do the thing you wanted to do, you know?
But it's funny because it's hard to explain that to someone.
It's super hard.
Like I felt like I struggled. I was like trying so hard in my surfing for so long, even into my QS phase. And I was like, you know, we got to work with Chris Gallagher for a little bit. And he was like super cool because he was like, you know, we were working on like posture or stance or something. And all of a sudden he's like, dude, just chill. And I was like, I never forgot that because I'm like, don't try so hard.
Totally.
Like, what are we doing? Just got to relax and flow it. And just like, you know, your body's going to get there. Your mind's going to get there. It's going to work out. You know what I mean? If you're applying yourself, if you're staying present in the turn and in the instinct, trust your instincts. And so, yeah, I was working with mentors like that and coaches. Like, I feel like there's incredible value, but then how you manifest it or how it manifests into your own journey is for you to decide, right? Like, you take or leave some certain stuff. Like, I mean, you work with Gur so much, and people he works with kind of have a signature style, right? Like a flowing power thing, but you guys are all your own people, and it's cool to see how it kind of grows out of it, you know?
For sure. Yeah. He was cool in that way. It was like his style. Like I never really thought you could teach style, you know? So it's more like, okay, like, oh, you do that, like that little thing you do right there. Like, that's cool. Do that more.
That's so rad.
Yeah. Or like, oh, like that, when you did that, that was cool. Like, do that more. He was really good at that. He'd be like, pick up on some little thing that you sort of just did naturally. And he'd be like, oh yeah, like that little thing. Like, oh, did you feel that? He'd be like, oh yeah, I did feel that. It's like, yeah, more of that.
But it's more like a feeling.
Yeah. Or like, oh, no, like that's no less of that. You know, like, okay.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it was really fun. Gur and I had some freaking classic times, super fun. And we still keep in touch a lot, but haven't gotten to hang and surf. I hope we get to one day soon.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. Yeah. Surfing is pretty endless, and it's good to have mentors, you know, as we age, and then at every stage in our lives, you know, your goals change, and how you want to surf is probably different today than it was when you were 18, and what you hope to get to in the next 10 years and how you want to get there. So that's why I love watching Skip and people who have lived a surfing life. They still love it. Why? You know what I mean? Like, how do they do it? It's how many people you talk to are so frustrated at surfing that they quit completely. So it's like, so like, it's great to aspire to like something like that, where they have this beautiful relationship with it for whatever reason, and they're able to do the dance in a way that kind of makes them want to go do it. Cause I want to go to the ocean every day.
Yeah.
I don't want to like not, you know?
I think that's it for me. And like same, I guess, with fishing or diving or being on a boat, it's like every day I'm on the water, I just feel good, whether I'm surfing or just in it, around it, swimming, jumping in, like anything. I'm like, I just feel better every day if I go in the ocean.
It's a good feeling, man.
So surfing's very, I don't know, I guess it's one of the more fun things that you could do in that. But I think for me, like my dad and like having your brothers, like my brother too, like feeding on that energy of like the stoke, you know, because I think it's just such a fun way to connect and share those times with like your friends or your family. Like surfing with my dad and brothers, so like my favorite.
Sick.
And then imagine like if you can take your daughter surfing someday, maybe, hopefully, or like so. Archie hopefully wants to go surfing. That'd be so with like that. Pops, just takes the like. I mean, it's just a whole nother surf journey.
Yeah, you're just like, dude, we're locked in.
But I feel like that with my dad. Like when I was competing and gone and on the tour, and sometimes you know it can feel like more of a job than maybe you expected the thing you love to feel like. And I'd come and be like, well, let's go surf. I'd be like, okay. And if I was like a little kind of burned out, I'd be like, go surf with him. And he'd just be so fired up to go surf together. I'd be like, okay, I'm stoked.
Yeah. No, it's
still
so
stoked
good.
to go surf.
And he's got to be so proud of you guys. I mean, it's rad. Like now you're a dad and you have a little boy, and you're like, picture fast forwarding, like, I don't know, however old you are. Like
31.
31. Picture fast forwarding 31 years. And
I don't want to fast forward.
And you're like, dude, Archie's ripping, and he's lived this epic run of all these like, cool experiences, and now he's like settled. He's got his family and his community. And it's like, dude, that's like all you can ask for in life. That's bitching.
Sure, dude.
You know, so I hope that, you know, at least for Heidi, my daughter, is like, I hope she just finds a passion that she's in love with. Doesn't have to be surfing, doesn't have to be the ocean,
totally,
whatever. Because like waking up inspired about something, I'm just so grateful for, because so many people like struggle to find it, and it's hard. Like, how do you fall in love with something, you know? So I think
it is hard. It's just like crazy just to be so like something that you love so much that you're just like, wait, oh yeah, it's just, oh yeah, it's something to do.
And it's,
you talk to so many people that don't get to maybe don't feel that in their life. It's like crazy to think about.
So we're lucky, man.
So Dane, what are you up to these days? Like besides being a papa and still loving surfing? Like what's the day to day kind of?
The day to day is rolling with Heidi, which is keeping me super busy.
Yes.
Still working with CI a lot when trying to be on the kind of developmental side of things. Super inspired about board design, working with those guys and Britt and Mike Walters and Mike Andrews and being like, just scratching some different itches of board designs and just being like, you know, we want to make boards that take our experience, you know, at the high performance side of things on thrusters and everything, and give people the freedom in their, you know, maybe like a different kind of alternative shape where they can kind of relate to it, right? Because it's kind of, you know, I feel like there was a gap between that category for a long time. And so we're having fun kind of playing in that space where we just want people to, we want to build boards that people feel inspired that they can go out there and just have fun, get speed, paddle well, do maneuvers that they want to do. But it's not going to be like a high performance, like super like pinned out thruster. So like we're playing in that space, and that there's a lot of different varieties of fins and outlines. So it's been really fun. And then Positive Vibe Warriors, still we're rocking with that. That's been a really fun journey. And then
what's the latest with Positive Vibe Warriors?
We're in a bunch of shops up and down the coast. So I was going in, kind of repping the line, which has been really fun, working with some cool artists. Ty Williams was able to do a little collection for us, which we're super grateful to Ty. And, but also too, like we supported like Native Like Water with a board drive, which was really fun. We had done a bunch of board drives in the past, for like Africa and Trinidad and Jamaica. I was actually just talking to Billy Mystic today on the phone. He's such a legend, man. If anyone, you know, gets a chance to go to Jamaica, please check out Jamnesia, and Billy and his family are just the best. And so, yeah, like, I don't know, connecting with emerging surf communities and trying to support each other. You know what I mean? Like, it's a good feeling to work with these communities. And I feel like we've had access to so much in our lifetime that sometimes just getting the access to the equipment is the hardest part. You know, whether it's, you know, where they live, they don't have access to it, or it's hard to get the stuff. So we try to facilitate that role. So that's been really fun. Yeah. So
that's epic.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing that.
Honestly, there's so many other people who are running those organizations who like deserve the praise, because those guys are freaking legends and they live it day in and day out. They're in the communities and doing the work. And, you know, Mark from Native Like Water.
Yeah, Mark's epic. I know.
Yeah, he just works so hard, and it's such an amazing cause. And, you know, I really do believe in their mission, and I feel excited for the future. You know, they just had a little Grom contest down in Mexico for those guys and the kids with the donated boards. And like, I can't wait to see the footage. You know?
It's so cool.
And like in Jamaica, after the board drive, there's now been a generation of kids who come out and, you know, they got to live in their career and dreams out of pro surfers. You know, Iva Wilmot, you know, Shama Beckford, you know, Garen Price. I mean, these kids were ripping when we were down there, and to see where they took it on their own 2 feet is freaking inspiring, you know, and hopefully they inspire a whole contingency of people from their communities that look up to them and go, I can do that, because I want the world to, just be a part of the whole ecosystem. It makes everything so much more diverse and fun, having all those cultures represented, and their influences of riding the waves are totally unique to themselves. So I hope it keeps going.
It's so sick.
Yeah. So
well, I got to get some boards out of this garage and add them to the next board drive.
Dude, yes, you are ready. No, it's so sick. I mean, I remember when we did the South Africa one, we did board drives up and down the coast, and we had made these flyers and stuff. And we went up to Santa Cruz, and I got to connect with Frye, and he had some of Barney's boards.
No way.
And he's like, hey, like, I really want, you know, to hand off some of these boards for, you know, Barney. He loved Africa and this and that. And so it's like, what? Like, you got to be kidding me. Like, it's so special, you know? But then seeing those boards in the hands of the kids when we were down there, and just, it was so rad, you know? But like you said, like, you never know, like one board could change a kid's life, you know?
Absolutely.
Or just even having the self-belief, you know, to like express themselves however they want to do it in the ocean. Like I talk with a friend in Nigeria all the time, is Abraham, a young kid from Lagos, and he hits me up all the time with like 6 surf shots and videos, and it's like
so rad.
We had done a trip with Dylan Graves for Weird Waves down there and become good friends, and we, you know, obviously they don't have a ton of access to like surfboards, you know, there's no surf shops or X, Y, and Z, and so we had made some boards from what's his name, DVG, you know, I am blanking on it, but yeah, he's such a legend. And so we got the boards, and it's just super inspiring to see the kids going after it. And so yeah,
that's sick, dude.
Yeah, I'm pumped. I'm really excited for surfing. I like really want to see where it goes.
Yeah,
you know,
I know it seems like there's so much potential in places like that, where, you know, in places where kids have barely had even, well, like how sick is that boards.
One kid from Fiji in that clip, he was surfing it so creatively and so instinctually. I don't know if anyone out there, you'll probably see it. I think Hunter Martinez is was that Johnny?
Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah,
oh, man, dude. I haven't been there in so long.
So crazy.
That's rad. But if you get a chance, go watch it. I mean, it's an example of like someone truly living in their world, right? Like I've never seen that wave surf like that. No. And he's a young kid.
Yeah.
So like who knows where
God, he's surfing good.
Yeah.
Just like laying there, just got like 6 foot legs.
Yeah, I love it. Doing like a little parallel stance and just, I mean, laying down, and yeah. So yeah, it's a good thing. Yeah. So that's good.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Dane.
Well, cheers.
That was so fun.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you doing this, dude.
Well, thank you guys too for having me.
Yeah. Dude, I think we
might
have to do another one.
Let's enjoy another cold dog.